What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle for the next episode of Darkest Dungeon. My name is Splattercat. Happy to have you here today as we hang out for a little while, and we're going to be moving some dots and some tittles around. I would love to get weaponsmithing too, so I'm going to go ahead and take that, and it's going to be very, very important that we start slapping the second weaponsmithing and the second armorsmithing on everybody that we can. Without it, our characters are definitely going to operate at far less than the required capabilities that I need. I need them to be like tip-top. Your characters get a better chance of surviving, and as you go into higher dungeons, upgrading your armor and upgrading your skills, very, very, very important. It's something you definitely want to spend time doing. And if you don't, you will regret it, because one of the best ways to make your characters better is by leveling them and then adding new skills and equipment. Equipment especially, it gives you more HP and it gives you more dodge, and what's better than the entire negation of an ability from your enemy? Nothing. That's one of the best ways that you can line yourself up to be in a solid position to win. So, I prefer to do it as much as possible. I think we're just about out of cash. I tend to keep myself right about 12,000. I'll probably actually work on that too.
A sharper sword, a stronger shield, anything to prolong a soldier's life.
I think they just changed the graphic for the blacksmith too. It looks a little bit nicer up and in here. What I'd like to do next is we'll probably... Actually, I need to check my cart too. I need to see what we got coming and what we got going. We have ourselves an arbalest, which is going to be all but required for fighting swine prince.
Shoot, bandage, and pillage. The dancing steps of war.
Perfect. I need to level her, which is really sort of an unfortunate situation to be in, but that's okay. I think we were going to do a Lobby run today anyways. I also need to get rid of some of the trash items that I've got laying around that aren't going to be used by anybody. This Hellion item, I'll probably get rid of it. I don't really think that the cudgel weight is that useful of an item for one of your bounty hunters or your dog guy, so I probably won't carry that either. And I'll more than likely go ahead and vendor that. However, when it comes to, let's see, 3 crit and 3 speed, I'll probably put that in right there. Although there's other items that I like a lot better. For the leper, you kind of want to focus on accuracy, because if you can get his accuracy fixed, his baseline accuracy is like 60 or 70%. If you can get it fixed to where his accuracy is on par with everybody else's, he becomes just a devastating character. I've had boss fights where basically my leper carries the entire thing by critting for like 40 every single turn, and it's a sight to behold. It's definitely helpful. I'm going to lower his dodge slightly in exchange for more damage. Hurricane, what the hell is this thing? Bleed resist? I don't remember ever picking that up. But I've got so many gameplays going to this game now that I can't remember what I was working on anyways, so who cares? I will probably check you in, sir. Not to here, but I need you to start being worked on as far as your flaws go. The bleed resist is not so bad. Cavophobe is not so bad. Actually, none of those 3 are terrible. I'm kind of glad that those are locked in the way that they are. Not a bad spot to be in. However, we could definitely use a little bit more healing. I know a bunch of people caught rabies, including she's got rabies and syphilis, which means we need to put her to work inside of here. What sort of work she'll be doing, I don't know, but rabies gives her more damage. Huh. Alright. I guess she'll have to step out for a little bit. I'll put somebody else in the 3rd slot and we'll see what we can make work here. It'll probably be fleshy. I'd like to have my dog guy, my hound master, spend a little bit more time in the party. So we'll take him, we'll swap him in right there, and I want everybody else. All these guys, I thought they were all going to hit level 3 when we did that boss, and they didn't, which is kind of an interesting thing to have happen. The Necromancer's Apprentice, we got you. Oh, Dizzy D went up, that's right. Okay, so I needed the Arbalest then, although I don't think there's much the Arbalest can do. This is the problem with the Arbalest, is the Arbalest and the Houndmaster occupy the same space pretty exclusively. We could run no healer and just bring extra food, but I need the Arbalest more than I need the Houndmaster, so we'll go ahead and do that. Villain, yeah, I'd like to keep you leveling with your point blank shot. Misses the spot. -1 to crit. That's not horrible. It could be a lot worse. Among the things that could be wrong with our characters, he's already been upgraded. Have we upgraded his abilities? We have not. So there it is. Little bit better all the time. I do need to throw some portraits at this and get the level 2s unlocked. Until I do that, we are going to be a little bit behind. I definitely wouldn't want to send anybody into medium level dungeons without their level 2 skills. I just like to stack things in my favor. That's just the way that I like to play the game personally. Technically, we could bring Greaser along and see if we could get him going, but I don't know if I want him right now. I suppose I could also consider... Nah, we need to level the Arbalest, otherwise we're going to have trouble with Swine Prince. The other option is that I might be able to use a character who marks himself and then uses prod abilities versus Swine Prince, and then just stack a bunch of prod on that person and just hope that nothing hits us, but still, Swine Prince can be a little bit iffy. The Brigand 8-pounder is not actually that bad either. I bet this group could take it, but we'll wait. They could definitely probably take the Necromancer's Apprentice. Let's level the Arbalest up once or twice, though, and once she's leveled, we'll be able to do a little bit more with her. So we've got 90% of rooms need to be cleared right here, and the reward that we're going to pull out is an Armlet of Redemption. An armlet sounds like something that you would order for breakfast. I'm like, oh, I have an armlet. An armlet over medium. I'll take 12 food, like 5 torches, 2 of those. We've already got 2 of those, so that looks pretty good. Yeah, that'll work for right now. If it ends up being a darkness run, oh well, it ends up being a darkness run. I'm not going to weep about it. I think that 5 torches should be more or less enough. I am really dragging today. I don't know what's got into my system, but I've ingested so much caffeine, and I'm falling asleep with my feet on the ground right now. It's bad. Like, I am just standing up leaning on stuff. I went into the living room a little bit earlier and started fiddling with my phone, because you know how you have those phone games you got to check on like once a day. And so I got one for Dragon Ball Z that I've been playing because I am a giant sucker for anything Dragon Ball Z. Like, seriously, Dragon Ball Z is one of the great passions of my life. I like Dragon Ball Z a lot. I'm pretty unapologetic about it. I don't really like Dragon Ball that much, and I don't really like GT that much. It's just Dragon Ball Z, in all fairness. Now, I was introduced to Z through watching Dragon Ball. I saw Dragon Ball first when I was a kid. I used to watch it before school in the mornings. It was on at like 6 in the morning, because back in my day, that was the only time when anime type stuff played, is they would put it on the Cartoon Network, not Cartoon Network, they would put it on like the cartoon channels, but they would do it super early in the morning at like 5 a.m. And I pretty faithfully would set my alarm and get up early, and I watched that and Ronin Warriors were the 2 that I liked when I was a kid. I also like Speed Racer, but Speed Racer was a little bit older for me. Speed Racer was more kind of the back end of my dad's generation, I guess. My dad said he watched Speed Racer when he was maybe in high school. We could consecrate this thing. It's her first run into the dungeon. There you go. Be soothed. Oh man, you got 20 damage. That's fine. You're a DD, so that'll work out. DD damage dealer is all that I'm saying right there, in case people didn't know the terminology. Sometimes I use terms and words and things, and then I feel bad about it because I don't explain exactly. You know what? You're new. Open up this bookcase right here. This is all you. Okay, that's better than bad things happening. He's got a 90%, so we'll disarm right there. I love that coat that he's got. It's called a shearling coat, if you're wondering what that style is right there. I've been looking everywhere for one, but it seems like shearling coats kind of start at like $3,000. Like, the cheapest I've seen so far is like $700 for a jacket that looks like that, because they actually use wool right there, or sometimes they use furs. Not a big fan of the furs, unless I can guarantee they're ethically harvested. I don't like those like puppy mill farm things they run that get furs out of things. And so in general, I know it sounds a little hippy-dippy. I'm not like one of those PETA people. But at the same time, if you can get synthetic fur, why have it chopped off of an animal, you know what I mean? If it's being like ethically harvested or hunted or whatever to keep their numbers down, I'm okay with that. That's perfectly chill. I have no problem wearing those furs then. But it seems like if you wear... Oh, please don't touch that. If you set it, you gotta use a torch on it, and it summons the... It shouldn't do anything. If you light it with a torch, though, it makes you fight some big Cthulhu monster thing. He's a pain in the ass. He's definitely not easy mode. He's one of the nastier enemies you come across. The Shambler, I think is what he's called. He's not, like, unbeatable, and he's not, like, terrible either. It's just you have to have the right group composition for him. And you also don't want to spawn him on accident while fiddling with shit. That's always the worst in this game. So for you, sir... I'm going to have you dance to the front by stabbing her. Unfortunately, we didn't get a crit out right there. A little disappointing, but I can live with it. That'll set him up for a point-blank shot on the next turn. He's going to dodge tank for us for right now. We've got a little bit of health missing, but not enough to where I feel like I should reallocate resources to heal people. It's a short run anyways. Let's go ahead and put a crossbow. That's a big crossbow bolt. That thing's like no joke. That thing's like a tree limb. God, those things used to hit you with so much force too. Damn, that would hurt. Anything that can go through plate mail is not something I want inside my body. 19 damage right there. Never forget how useful point blank shot is versus bosses. Like seriously, it's a really good ability. And anytime you have the opportunity to play it, you should play it as aggressively and as viciously as possible. Quick and easy battle right there. Ray Nominal should out-level this place afterwards. I'm going to open the heirloom chest with the key. Hopefully we wind up with, hey, heirlooms work for me. I'll take that. We actually don't need that much treasure. We got a battle room on that side, but DBZ is a big thing for me. Although I only really like it up until Majin Buu. Once you get to Majin Buu, I start to get bored with it, and it becomes too repetitive for me. It's like they started getting caught up on the same power creep storylines. Like, Majin Buu's okay, I can sit through it, but I think Cell was the last one that I, like, really enjoyed, and sat there, like, chain-watching episodes over and over and over again. People always bitch about him charging up for episodes at a time, but I think it's mostly just like a joke that everybody knows, which is why it gets repeated so much. But while somebody is charging in that show, somebody else is almost always up to doing something, like looking for a Dragon Ball, or they have like a little side story going along. So I don't have too many problems with it, although I do wish that Goku every now and again would just throw the damn Spirit Bomb. She's catching all kinds of issues right now. Her first run into the dungeon is looking like it's going to cost her a little bit of sanity. I got to get rid of him before he makes this any worse. I'll probably go point blank shot right there. And we've created our first corpse. And skazooted him on back by one. I'm going to lightning that one, and then we'll work on her heals on the next turn. I just wanted to make sure we didn't have anybody stacking stress on us. This also gives me an excuse to scoot him up to the front so that he loses the ability. God damn.
Cannot be left unanswered.
Okay. It's not that bad. Like, nothing bad here has happened. It's just... it needs to be dealt with. Definitely don't want to knock him back right now. Her stress is just absolutely over the top. So we got to start working on her health. If she catches like one more crit, I think she's going to be on the edge. And that puts everybody else at risk for expensive renovations and repairs to their sanity. If you're spending a lot of time repairing people's mental malfunctions, you waste money on it that you could spend on other things making your fight force better. Yeah, I like DBZ a lot. I think the main things that DBZ suffers from, though, the power creep, and then they also just don't focus on characters enough. Like, I love the subplot on Namek, where they focus on Nail, and they focus on Piccolo for a while, because that was very outside the norm for the series. Like, typically they don't focus on side characters very often, and I liked that if just for a little while, Piccolo got to be... Piccolo's my favorite character, too. Piccolo and Vegeta are my two favorite characters. And so... I like that Piccolo got to take center stage, if only for like 4 or 5 episodes, where you thought for a second he might actually have a chance versus Frieza. Obviously that's pre-transformation Frieza, but I think they fell in. The power creep was a lot. They tended to focus way too much on Goku. I have the same problem with Star Wars. They focus too much on the Jedi and it annoys me. And then I think they focus too much on transformations. It's like they needed to make the enemies get knocked out quicker. Tend to focus on them too much. I think that's all that we're going to get done here. Let's go ahead and bounce back out. I'm going to try and do a second small run as fast as possible, so you'll forgive me if it feels like I'm cycling through rapidly, but I'm trying to save time here. Got the worries, huh? Went to a dungeon, came out with anxiety. My badsies, delivery man. Had my lady's Valentine's Day present being delivered, and I really didn't feel like going down to the UPS place to pick it up, so I try to get it the first time they come through. Man, we seriously like need those right there. Damn it, why is my roster all messed up? I must have dragged and dropped somebody back to the wrong spot. It would appear to be so. Well, we've got time for another short run, and I think if we rush, we should be perfectly fine if there's any short runs available. Yeah, that'll work. That'll work. She's actually a little bit tapped out right now, though. I need her. Let's see here. Glanville. Perfecto. I should have given her the shin guards while she was in there, too, although it doesn't really matter that much. As far as we've got the eye patch, we can probably throw that on one of these guys. It doesn't come with that serious of a downside, and so making him tankier is never a bad option. Let's get back into the dungeon and see what we can accomplish here. I'm trying to keep stuff moving. I really sincerely am. That puts Reynald up to level 3. I'm going to keep Hurricane right where he's at so that he can lead the strike against... Actually... One thing at a time. One thing at a time. We'll bring Greaser in right here. And we'll also bring... Who wants to come along for funsies? I think the leper won't go with him. Maybe we'll take him. We'll take Bone Man. We'll take in the third slot, we'll take the Houndmaster. That's not a terrible group. That works. It'll be a little bit odd, but I think it'll be alright. Let's see if we can rush our way through the cove real fast. That's not what I needed. Perfect. Should be alright, but as I was saying, DBZ is a big deal to me. I like it a lot. I wanted to start collecting the little figurines, like the super photorealistic, like the ones that they make. They're really, really, really nice, like collectible pieces.
Soaked caverns are teeming with pelagic nightmares.
But I never got around to it.
Be flushed out.
I got a friend of mine, a dope-ass Piccolo statue. Like, you know, when you go shopping for one of your friends and you do it almost exclusively by getting them something that you really, really like because you think it'll be awesome. That's basically what happened. Is I got him like the dopest Piccolo statue ever. And there's the kill.
A faint hope blossoms.
I think I should like to set the hounds on him. So he's gonna take 3 on the next turn. I'm gonna do a demon's pull. Okay, or I'm gonna miss. That's cool. Whatever. I don't want a demon's pull anyways. Got a big dodge right there, man. You got a vascular forearm. What's going on with you? It's like they're all doing a dance move every time they do an AoE. Like, pop the shoulder now. Pop the shoulder now. Wah, wah, wah. I'm probably just going to keep vomiting on people. Can he only do that from the second line? Oh, he doesn't like being in the front, does he? That's cool. We'll fix that in just a minute. I'll just have him use Absolution then. Down goes that enemy. Don't underestimate. Demon's Pull is actually pretty good for dealing damage, too. It's not terrible. We got a big dodge right there. A little unfortunate. Another dodge right there. What's going on, everybody? Have we just decided not to hit the target today? We're not even going to try? We're just going to let him get away with it, huh? Just keep stabbing me with that really, really, really big knife. And I'm just going to take it the whole time. If so, it'd be nice if you all sent out a memo, maybe. Some kind of memorandum. Why are they getting so many turns in a row? God.
Reeling, about to break.
It's got like 2 turns in a row, like back to back. Come on now. You gotta give me something to work with here.
Their formation is broken.
Get him out of here.
Maintain the offensive.
Meanwhile, we'll try to focus a little bit on healing for the next bit while... Oh, yeah, you can actually heal yourself, too. Doggy Huggles! I feel better. I feel better already. Everybody loves doggy hugging. I'll probably keep spamming Absolution on him. Cry Havoc is not necessarily super useful right now, so I'll send the dogs after him. He's going to get another blanket fire off. A little bit of damage, but nothing we can't offset. We use Duelist Advance to get rid of him, and that should be the end of the fight.
As victories mount, so too will resistance.
Cool. Happy with the result.
Another mariner, another misfortune.
Looky there. Stepped on a tarp.
Lie in wait, unsprung and thirsting for blood.
Really kind of begs the question, though. Who makes a booby trap with an octopus? Like, who sits down and decides to be Poseidon MacGyver? Poseidon-guyver, I guess is what I would call him. And Jimmy rigged together an octopus into a booby trap. It seems like a bit much to me. Like, how does this happen, you know? At what point in your thought process, like, I could really implement an octopus into this design? I doubt there's anything back here. After we got our scouting check, I probably should have just turned around and came back, but I figure if we're going to be down in the dungeon anyways, we might as well get as much treasure and as many heirlooms as we can while we're in here. Cool, yeah, I'll take that right now. It sucks a little bit. Well, no, it doesn't. Never mind. I quit. I'm not going to continue that line of thought. I was going to complain about something, but now on further thought, it doesn't appear to be something to complain about. The ground sounds squishy. I hate it when you gotta walk in your shoes and your shoes are all soaked. Had that happen to me at like a theme park one time where my feet were wet like an entire day. And when I took off my shoes... That's odd that the trap didn't show on the ground. Why didn't the trap show on the ground? We had it lit up. Guess that's a question for another time. Question for another time. I don't think... Yeah, I think this one you gotta use herbs on it or something, if I remember right. Yeah, it's herbs. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Everything in this dungeon looks the same to me. It's all some kind of weird choral assembly, and so I tend to get them confused. I've tried to memorize them too. I've tried really, really hard. This figurehead right here is pretty useful. The figurehead should make it. What's his stun resist? Alright, start working on him. We need him to be stunned for most of the fight. We're gonna make this thing happen. Watch out for spearfishing, which can do a real amount of damage. It can be a wrecking ball if you're not careful. Pressing our advantage, indeed. Heal yourself, and please don't biff that. I would love it if you would heal so good. I'm gonna go after the shaman, because the shaman has some really unpleasant buffs and debuffs and heals. And if you don't get rid of the shaman, he might protect the shaman. With that turns this entire fight into just a giant death spiral of misery. Not gonna be super fun if that happens. You're not gonna want to be the guy that has to deal with the situation once that goes down. The same is to be said for if he actually, you know the big bloated guys that explode, if he shields one of them too, it's a big problem. Like, not just like a big problem, like a really, really big problem. I'm going to have him alternate with chains, although it looks like he got a resist off with only 10% resist. You roll the dice, you make your moves, and you hope your play goes through, but sometimes it doesn't. There's a good heal. There's my stuff. That's what I'm looking for. And so now Barnacle Barrier's up. And that's really what I was trying to avoid. It tends to make the fights take a lot longer than they need to. Point blank shot should still deal okay damage to him, regardless of where he is in the line. And then I think he bleeds too or something. Oh no, he's weak to blight. Okay, so I've got the wrong group configuration. Sucks, but there's not much I can do about it. Seaward slash goes out, 5 right there. I will note that there is no sea around us, so he must have some innate sixth sense for where the sea is at. Where the seas be at. We got 9 out right there for our highwayman. Weird frog in my throat that's attacking me at the moment, deciding he no longer wants me to respirate. I mean, it's going to go to him either way, so we might as well spam those out. I'll probably use Duelist Advance, but it's not going to deal enough damage. What we're looking for here is a crit or something of that kind to make him a little bit weaker. Hey, there it is. Mage managed to handle what nobody else could, which is fantastic by me. I'm okay with it. Point blank shot away right there for 16 damage.
A trifling victory, but a victory nonetheless.
This over here I think inspires people. Yeah. I recall the figurehead is one of those things that you usually want to find. It's pretty solid. I have been checking, by the way. I don't know if you can hear me. I check for secret rooms all the time while I'm in each of these. I've heard you can activate them manually, and so I've been trying that. Sorry if my metagame knowledge is not on the same level as yours. I just don't get the time to play that I wish I had, unfortunately. I mean, I've got like 100 hours played, but so much changes patch to patch that sometimes it can be very difficult to keep up. Big guy, what do I want to do with you? Actually, that might not be the worst plan, to see if we can't blight them up. Point blank shot out, solves a problem. and lines us up for the easy life in the next turn. Let's play Hug a Dog for a second. I don't know what magical salve he's put all over his dog, but it appears to make him heal you. I had a boo-boo on my elbow, and then I rubbed it on his dog. Like, I was bleeding everywhere, and I just scrubbed it off on his dog, and now it's perfectly fine. I don't know, it's science or some shit. Confused the hell out of me. I've been brined again. I guess it's better to be brined than to be brained. We'll do Hound's Harry. Hound's Harry's pretty strong against groups like this, where all they can really take damage to are dots and things like that anyways.
Precision and power.
Perfect, and that one should go down on its turn.
Great is the weapon that cuts on its own.
We have another protection stone. Might be kind of useful for him, but I doubt it. He's actually got some really, the Abomination, they encourage you to use him by giving him some really cool itemization.
May we find victory.
He has a couple like random chains and things that he can wear that they're pretty hardcore, man. They're good. Like, you definitely want to utilize them if you can get them to drop. Hound's Harry would put a bleed on everybody, but I think I'd rather focus on the shooter first. We'll go ahead and give him a point blank shot. That'll get his health started off. I'm going to transform right here and then take a turn. So there's 7 out. I don't think we get a bleed from that one. I'm going for a kill right now. Normally I wouldn't be that aggressive, but I want the big guy to go down. I don't feel like dealing with 1,000 stacks of bleeding right now. It's just... the longer the game goes on, the more patches that drop, I think the more effective they've made dots. And so I tend to be kind of worried about them a lot of the time. There's the stab, and so he's down. That leaves him. He's got rage. He's got slam. Let's go slam. Oh, you missed. That's loverly. Thanks for being a team player, amigo. I should probably throw out a heal on somebody over here and just hope that we don't catch the bleed. That looks fine to me. That dog makes a noise like an angry dragon snake or something. That's no noise that I've ever heard a dog make. He does kind of like a... Down they go yet again.
Momentum. Push on to the task's end.
The adventure appears to be going in our favor. There's not too many things going wrong. Did the transformation because it seems like a waste to bring the Abomination, then never use this transformation the entire run. I don't run it all the time, but... alright. Well, go ahead and search it. Probably something bad, though. Nothing here after all. Wouldn't mess around with coral too much. There's all kinds of nasty things hiding in coral. So it's got to be in this last room, I was going to say. Aren't we done right now? I thought we did everything. Nope, we got a little bit left over. Salty Gouge out to the front. I think that's not a stun ability, so as long as it doesn't stun, I don't care. He's giving him the old shocker right there. And he's going to resist both aspects of that. Stress Wave's going to go out. Probably the thing that I'm worried about most when I do these runs. The stress stacking. I'm going to go ahead and start off on the Shaman just so I don't have to deal with him long term. One down. I'll probably do my damnedest to pull him up to the front if we can manage it. Or at least get him to a spot where he's somewhat useful. Yeah, whatever. If stress has to get a little bit higher, we got plenty of time to offset it, so... doesn't really bother me that much. We got a crit mod of 5, and then we got Rake. Do Rake. We might actually kill something with Rake. These are very, very squishy creatures that we're up against, and I'm not just saying that because he's a jellyfish. Ew. We got ennui. Which I assume is some version of subaquatic diarrhea. We've got one shovel left, which goes down perfectly at the right time. Go ahead and get that started. I'll probably just heal everybody and hope that we don't get ourselves into trouble. I could try to pick the bones of that thing over there to get a little bit more meat off of them, but we're so close to the end that we might as well just let it happen. Stress Wave out to the back line. He's starting out Pretty much as I expect him to. Rend for the old god is going to move him to the front. Ideally, we want to start going after her if we can make it happen. Yeah, go ahead and puke on him. With Hound's Harry, I'm sorry, not Hound's Harry, with Hound's Rush, we'll go after the guy in the back. This is a fight that could definitely max out our stress in under a couple turns if we don't play it properly. There are certain people that need to be focused on right now. Got 10 damage out right there. I will more than likely try to jerk him up to the front. There we go. He's going to play Octocestus, which might... Well, I was going to say Octocestus might put him in a place where it crits a lot, and so I worry about Octocestus. Let's go right there. Octocestus, or whatever the hell it's called. It crits a lot. It's an ability that can be problematic. Let's get rid of the healer first. Now that we've got the healer done and taken care of, we want to go after the lady in the back. She got her fingernails painted all black, ready to goth on out for the weekend. But not before we get a couple good whacks in. Eldritch Push. It's a very diverse party that can do a lot of different things from a lot of different areas of the line, and so I don't tend to worry that much. He's going to do what exactly I didn't want him to do and put Barnacle Barrier on her, which blows. That leaves me in kind of the lackluster position of having to deal with that shit. Okay. It's not the worst thing that's ever happened, but it'll do for right now. You should always play AoEs when somebody's guarding somebody else because they can't guard AoEs. I don't know if you knew that or not, but AoEs don't guard people, so thank you for fixing my line problem. I appreciate it. I'm gonna go ahead and rake these guys. Didn't work out, but if it had, boy, would that have been sexy. 7 heals out right there, but he did catch another stack of bleed. Little bit of a downer, but it'll do. Trying to fish out a crit right there, but I don't seem to be having very good luck with it. Octocestus to Villain.
Mortality clarified in a single strike.
Big stress hit right there, unfortunately. I'm going to keep Hound's Harry running on everybody.
Slowly, gently. This is how a life is taken.
Perfect. And that should kill him on the next turn, and then we'll be the hell up out of here before anything else goes wrong. That was actually a pretty markedly terrible run, just in terms of things going wrong. Just in terms of things going wrong. Down he goes. Another problem solved. I think we have a key left. That'll also be the completion of the quest. I'd like to get this heirloom chest rocked, though. So there it is. Heirloom chest. We brought back not a lot from this one. Not a lot from this one. Ah, well. It was supposed to be a level up run anyway, so who cares?
Odor abates. The things are driven back.
I think we're just about out of time for the day, so my name is Splattercat. Thank you for joining me here at the Nerdcast for the next episode of Darkest Dungeon. I will see you all in tomorrow's episode. Bye, everybody.